that crocodiles of two different sizes don't live together. This is patently untrue. There are a number of different sized crocodiles here, so wherever I read that was absolute nonsense. Astounding sighting here of the biggest crocodile there with a piece of wildebeest in his mouth. Isn't this amazing? And then two or three almost as big ones trying to kind of get a piece of it. And they've been fighting, and he's been kind of tossing it up and down. Now what's interesting here is that he cannot swallow it. It's too big for him to swallow. It's too whole. That wildebeest probably died today. You can see it's still red. It probably died during the crossing that happened probably about 2 or 3 hours ago. And normally, of course, what crocodiles have to do is let their carcasses rot in the water first. He's a bit reticent to do that because little bits of it will be taken by the smaller crocs here. And there's a very brave hammerkop walking around as well there. Look at him there. Yeah, Bethany, you say, would any of these crocodiles eat the shorebirds? I don't think so, no. I mean, maybe if they really were really hungry. Look at this. Look at this. But no, I mean, we know that a cattle egret are actually able to pick bits and pieces out of crocodiles' mouths while they lie there with their mouths open in the sun trying to lose heat. And for some reason, they don't bite them. They don't try and eat them. Maybe it is the sensation of feathers on the tongue that they don't like. That one behind there has got his own piece. And the one in front is not letting go. I'm going to give you an idea of how big these things are. Those things there are probably about, I'm going to say 4.5 meters. That's, if you multiply it by 3, is roughly 13.5 feet. So almost 15 feet. Those enormous crocodiles. Look how fat the one on the right is. He's so fat he can hardly open his eyes. And a crocodile that size, as I told you yesterday, can go 2 years without a meal. Just amazing stuff. We've also seen a sacred ibis. I'm not sure if the sacred ibis it is. It's still around there. It was also eating a bit of wildebeest. So they're not known for their vulturine characteristics, but that sacred ibis there has had a lovely meal of freshly drowned wildebeest. Then off to the other side, let's just watch and see what happens here. That might be a bit of intestine that one's eating. No, it's a bit of skin, I think. No, that looks like innards. Even that is too much for the crocodile to swallow. They cannot break it up, cannot chew, so they have to have pretty rotten stuff. Look at that. The very big one on the right is now starting to cause trouble. Those are massive, massive dinosaurs we're looking at. They could be more than 100 years old, everyone. We know that we think the oldest living vertebrate around is probably the green shark. And I think they found one the other day of about 400 years old. I think it was 400. Look at these guys. You wouldn't want to get chomped by that, everyone. It would be very unpleasant indeed. This is just incredible. Just crawling over his mate. That thing is more than a ton. Oh, Debbie, you say, would these crocs dare to attack a lion like Scarface if he tried to cross the river? Yes, for certain. They're much bigger than him. Much bigger. Scarface would have to be very careful. That smaller one there. Look at this. And this is one of the great stories of the migration. These wildebeest, they don't know how many are going to get across and how many aren't. This is why it's so difficult to predict whether they're going to cross or not. Because so many of them do get taken. Look at that. There's nothing the other one can do except just tolerate that, because if he opens his mouth, the whole thing will fall out. That's the wildebeest head and 4 quarters. That is pretty disgusting, everyone. If you are a sensitive viewer, I'm sorry about this. You'll have to close your eyes, but it really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And if you're a younger viewer, just remember, this is how wildlife often acts, and that's okay. This is how these animals have evolved to live. and they have to make a living somehow. And I know that if you are a younger viewer thinking, ugh, crocodile, well, I sympathize with you, I must say. I often find it quite difficult to feel sympathy for crocodiles myself, but they have a right to life just like the rest of us. There are one or two wildebeest. Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to ask Genre to move the camera. There are a few wildebeest off to the left-hand side thinking about crossing the river, but then very few of them. So I don't think we're going to worry about those. Let's just watch these crocs. Oh, the big fella's going to go and take that one now. But the little one, you see, much faster. If you weigh more than a ton of reptile flesh, you ain't so quick. Except in the water, of course, and when you're making a strike. Look at that. Let me take one or two more pictures, everyone. Then we're going to have to go off to the lions, because we want to be there when they get active. Dina, you want to know if crocodiles kill by drowning their prey or by breaking their necks? Dina, it's a bit of both. They can break the smaller ones' necks and spines and legs, but basically they grab whatever they can and then drag the prey under the water. So it is probably largely drowning that occurs. Alright everyone, we're going to have to move on from here. So let's move on from here. We're going to head across to Taylor and the Sabi Sands elephants, those wonderfully confiding pachyderms, and we'll see you next, probably with the Kichwa Tembo Pride.